I mean, it was so reliable, we were saving a lot on fuel and got exactly the same feeling in the new boat.
They were sold as Freedom, a slab of aluminum bolted to the back of a hull, a quiet 4-stroke heartbeat, and just enough torque to push you past the shoreline and out of cell service. For decades, Honda Outboards carried a reputation of being different. Not loud, not temperamental, not fragile. They were positioned as the civilized alternative. Smooth, efficient, dependable. The answer to smoky 2-strokes and constant wrenching. But every long-running machine story has two sides. Because while some Honda Outboards became legendary for running forever, others quietly turned weekend trips into tow-home disasters, warranty battles, and late-night marina phone calls. And that's the part most buyers never hear. Today, the myth gets separated from reality. This breakdown covers 3 Honda Outboard motors to think twice about owning. Engines tied to real-world reliability problems. Recalls or ownership costs that quietly destroy resale value and confidence. Then the story flips to 3 Honda Outboards worth owning. Motors with proven durability, strong service records, and reputations built under real conditions, not marketing brochures. This isn't brand bashing. This isn't internet rumor. This is what happens when these engines rack up hours, face saltwater, and meet owners whose time, money, and safety are on the line. Let's begin with the 3 worst. 1. BF135, BF150. If you own an older Honda BF135 or BF150, there's one issue that can't be ignored, and it's a serious one. Certain production runs had a defective shift arm that can fail over time. When that happens, the engine may refuse to shift, or worse, start while still in gear. That's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Honda issued an official statement recall for specific serial numbers, but many of these engines are still out there on the used market, and this is where buyers get burned. Picture easing into a marina, reaching for neutral, and nothing happens. Yes, the repair itself can be manageable if the recall was done, but if it wasn't, resale value takes a hit. And that little doubt follows every trip. If you own one, demand proof the recall was completed. If you're shopping used, treat this like the frame damage on a car. Verify it or walk away. 2. BF200, BF225, BF250. Honda's big V6 outboards look amazing on paper. Smooth power, great efficiency, and tons of torque. But some BF200, BF225, and BF250 models from certain years developed a problem that can get very expensive very fast. Owners reported low oil pressure warnings that kick the engine into protection mode, sometimes locking it at around 1800 RPM. In the worst cases, the issue traced back to internal components like thrust washers or main bearings, not minor stuff. A few engines needed major internal repairs, and that's when things spiral. This wasn't every motor, but it happened often enough to raise red flags in service bulletins and owner communities. And here's the real problem. When a V6 suffers internal bearing damage, it's not a quick fix. It's a teardown. Big parts, big labor, big bills. If you're shopping used, demand oil pressure history, compression numbers, and proof of any factory updates. 3. BF90. Another Honda that often shows up in reliability discussions is the Honda BF90. Early generations of the BF90, especially pre-2007 carbureted versions, were known for lean bogging and stumble issues when the throttle was open quickly, exactly when a boater needs instant power to get on plane or pull off a trailer. That sudden bog can kill the engine mid-acceleration, leaving you fumbling for throttle and worrying about docking or hitting obstacles. On top of that, owners often report shifting linkage looseness or gear engagement problems that feel like the mechanism dragging or not clicking reliably into reverse. These aren't catastrophic failures, but they are irritating, tough to diagnose remotely, and make for an ownership experience that rarely lives up to Honda's usual reputation. especially compared to its newer EFI models. Those are the three categories you should approach with caution. But if you left the video thinking Honda is unreliable across the board, that would be a lie. Honda also makes brilliant outboards, some of the most reliable, easiest to live with motors in the market. Now, let's turn the page to the three best outboards to own. 1. BF20 BF15. There is a reason small Hondas have a quiet cult following among fishermen and skiff owners. The BF15 and BF20 don't chase headlines, they just work. They're compact, simple, and almost stubbornly durable. Built around Honda's refined four-stroke design with straightforward carburation, or PGM-Fi, excellent fuel economy, and minimal maintenance drama. Turn the key, they start. Push the throttle, they respond. No oil mixing, no attitude. Real-world testing has consistently praised the BF20 for the things that actually matter on the water. Easy starting, smooth throttle control, and day-to-day reliability. That makes them perfect for tenders, skiffs, and bay boats where simplicity is king. Their strength isn't flash, it's trust. These are motors owners leave on all season without second guessing. For buyers who want affordable longevity and fewer headaches, the BF15 and BF20 are some of the safest bets Honda has ever built. 2. BF115, BF140, BF150. Honda didn't just tweak these engines, they fixed what owners had been complaining about. With the 2025 refresh, the BF115, BF140, and BF150 were quietly rebuilt where it counts. Durability was improved. Efficiency was dialed in. Serviceability got easier. And according to dealer feedback and real-world use, these changes made a noticeable difference compared to earlier versions. This is the sweet spot for a lot of boats. You get solid torque, manageable weight, and modern electronics without the cost, complexity, or maintenance anxiety of stepping up to a V6. The refresh also focused on the unglamorous stuff that actually matters long-term. Stronger charging systems, improved shift components, and cleaner, more intuitive controls. Translation: fewer headaches, better fuel economy at cruise, and less time chasing small issues. If you're shopping mid-range Honda power, the post-refresh BF115, BF140, and BF150 represent Honda's lessons learned and applied. 3. BF250, BF225, BF200. This is where the story gets more complicated and more interesting. Yes, some Honda V6s earned a bad reputation because of bearing and thrust washer issues in specific production runs. But that's not the whole picture. Honda's 2025 refresh, along with targeted service bulletins, fundamentally changed these engines. When you're looking at a post-refresh, properly serviced BF200, BF225, or BF250, the upside is huge. Strong mid-range punch, excellent fuel efficiency for their size, and electronics that play nicely in twin and triple engine setups. Early drive reports and dealer feedback point to real gains in durability and easier service access, the stuff that actually affects ownership. The key is buying smart. Verify service records, confirm bulletin work, check the production year. Do that, and these V6 Hondas stop being risky purchases and start becoming trophies. Engines that deliver big, smooth power and reward owners who did their homework. You've seen the villains and the champions. Here's a tight checklist to make the right call when shopping or maintaining. 1. Check for recalls and service bulletins. Honda lists recalls and product updates on its marine website. Don't buy until you confirm whether the motor was corrected if it falls into an effective serial range. 2. Demand dealer service records. Verified dealer maintenance and documented remedies for bulletins convert a risky buy into a safe one. 3. Watch for oil pressure history and limp mode systems. For V6s, Ask about any history of low oil pressure warnings or engineers putting the motor into protection mode. Those signals mean further inspection. 4. Prefer refreshed models where available. Honda's 2025 refresh shows real gains in engineering for several model lines. Where you have a choice, prefer the updated generations. 5. Compression and prop load test at purchase. Low compression or odd vibration at a buyer's inspection is a red flag. For high horsepower units, an oil sample analysis can reveal early metal contamination. These simple tests save fortunes. Engines are temperamental creatures, and outboards even more so, because water and salt are relentless. Honda's legacy is not cleanly black or white. There are recalled engines and troublesome serial runs. Real problems that left owners stranded and angry. There are also small 4-stroke Hondas that simply refuse to die, and big modern V6s that deliver muscular, efficient power when cared for properly. Context matters. A BF20 that's been used gently by a freshwater owner with good service will likely outlast a neglected BF250 that's never seen a dealer. Conversely, a refreshed BF250 with documented fixes and dealer service can be a dream for offshore runs and heavy-duty use. The difference often comes down to the invisible things: paperwork, recall compliance, and whether the previous owner cared. If you're a viewer whose channel loves the smell of oil and the sound of a good throttle opening, and you target an audience that values specific technical advice, play the hard truth. Check serial numbers. Insist on paperwork and be skeptical of low-hour sellers who can't show maintenance. Those 3 questions will keep your wallet and your weekends intact. When engines sing, they give you the bravest kind of freedom: quiet confidence on the water. When engines fail, they teach hard lessons in the loudest possible way. Honda's story contains both, and as an owner, buyer, or mechanic, learning which models carry the drama and which carry the quiet reliability is the difference between a boat life that's restful and one that's a series of emergency phone calls. Which Honda engines do you prefer? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more boating stories, engine deep dives, and real-world reliability reviews.